welcome to Controlling the Mobile Enterprise. This live webinar today, August 30th, 2011. My name is David Anteles. I am the Director of Engineering. I'd like to thank you again for coming out and watching this webinar. If you have any questions, please feel free to direct them at the end of the session to Diana Arend, who is our Marketing Director. Let's get started, shall we? So basically what we're here to talk to you today about is controlling the mobile enterprise and how it's changing the dichotomy and the way we do businesses each and every day. How many of you have ever experienced having a lost phone, cell phone, leaving it in the back of a cab, or just having someone pickpocket or steal it from you? These are very real threats, and these are issues that face many network managers today, especially with the proliferation of tablets and iPhones and Android-based devices that are coming on board and onboarding themselves onto the network. It's becoming much more common to see individuals using it more than just for social media, but also including corporate email, corporate access to databases, and information beyond the firewall. So as we see, the proliferation of devices will exceed the number of smartphone sales will exceed PC sales in 2012. There's a good indicator out there as it relates to what's happening out there. HP recently releasing its numbers as far as its PC sales and the decline of PC sales, but there is an uptick in sales as it relates to mobile devices. And it's not just smartphones, but it's also tablets, Android-based tablets, Microsoft-based tablets. Up until recently, HPOS-based tablets, but now HPOS is going away. Apart from, again, from the connected socialization, we have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and email using cloud services such as Google Mail and Hotmail. We also have content consumption, basically video on demand, any weather information, news-related items, apart from the access that is required nowadays to back-end infrastructure. One of the things that vex many administrators is how to contain any malware or virus outbreaks. Malware history tells us two things. Malware changes and gets more sophisticated each and every year. Now, I'm pretty sure this is not new to most of you, especially since in IT we've been afflicted with such cases going back to about 15 years when proliferations of rabbit and cloning type viruses were first released into the wild, and now you're starting to see more executables that are based on Flash and based on the opening of an application. These are things that are ever evolving, and how do you mitigate that? As you can see, in 1986, executable boot sector infections were the popular malware or virus of choice. We fast forward to 2009, and now you have mobile malware. Back in the 80s, no one really thought that the phone would become something of a normal use device within an enterprise. It was more of a novelty at that point. So smartphones have become computers, and this is true. There is more power in a smartphone than there was in the Apollo 13. Apollo 13 only had 14 kilobytes of memory, which is less than that of a pocket calculator. But now you have smartphones who have almost 100 times base the power than one of those computers on that shuttle. So, what mobile devices do is also increases another surface for malware to play on. So it creates another threat vector. It's another level of introduction in which the bad guys can go ahead and start writing code against or to. And the threat landscape has evolved from SMS-based attacks to now application-based attacks. Unfortunately, certain vendors have a large database or collection of applications which is not thoroughly vetted, and this becomes a problem. especially when you are onboarding devices onto your network. This creates a policy issue. It creates a compliance issue. It also creates a user base issue. One, in that it can slow down your network. Two, it can complicate your help desk relations. And three, it just costs money to chase down and maintain and quarantine all of these viruses and malware. So we have faster wireless. So we must be concerned with loss and theft, not only of the device itself, but of content and materials and intellectual property. There's eavesdropping. People having the ability to collect and garner information remotely, but by not even being next to your phone if you have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi enabled. Poor governance, not knowing what's on the network at what time. It has become increasingly difficult to be able to track down these devices, and not knowing what these devices are doing on the network as well. Of course, you have consumer design or consumer pent-up demand for these devices because, quite frankly, people are going after these because they are the must-have devices of the enterprise at this point. And we have inadequate tools, and there's always the issue of storage capacity. So it's a vicious cycle, and it just creates on and on and on issues that just continue to snowball and tumble down the hill. So let's see, how do we get in front of this truck? It's very difficult because approximately 2 million smartphones were stolen in the U.S. in 2008, and 80% of those mobile device owners store personal information on their handset. So it's also said that 40% of the users who store credit card information on their handset don't even have a basic password on their device to limit entry. That in itself is a policy issue. And 24% of smartphone users store bank account details on their device, whereas 10% store credit card information. So we take a look for enterprises. The issues for enterprises are this, where 86% security high or critical priority. This is a basically how much administrators see that as being an issue. 31% of the devices that were surveyed compromised security in 2009. Information that was stolen, lost, or otherwise taken off a phone. 25% not corporate standard or managed smartphones. Now this is where some of the issues really do arise and rise to the top. That being, you may have a standard for a BlackBerry, but now the iPhone and the Android phones have come on and have kind of usurped and taken over the BlackBerry landscape and replaced it for corporate access, simply because of the functionality and some of the combined gadgetry that's available on those phones, make it much more user-friendly. And 40% of these same users use the same smartphone for business and personal. I think we covered that already, and we kind of know where that leads. As far as being a service provider, basically that's what you become when you do provide access to these types of materials and access to these types of devices. You end up with becoming a service provider and servicing these phones themselves. So 1/3 of the world's workforce by 2013 will be using these devices on the enterprise, whether you like it or not. Two times increase in the users requiring data access by 2013 puts an extreme load on your back-end infrastructure. As far as the consumer, over 2 million phones are stolen. Well, let's clarify that. They are stolen or otherwise left in the back of a cab or in the movie theater or somewhere else, or just simply you left the phone out and someone took it. 24% of teens admitted to sending inappropriate content. This becomes another issue. You have phones that may otherwise be used by an adult in an organization, may otherwise lend their phone and as a consequence have inappropriate material floating about on the phone. So what do? So it's time to set the mobility security agenda. In other words, it's time to take a deep dive and look at what's going on in the world today as it relates to smartphones and how they access our networks. We need to protect them at all points in the device and the network and the applications. We need to support across all mobile and OS devices. It needs to be extensible. It needs to be user-friendly, and it needs to be easy to administer. All of these are common sense, plays in most organizations when it relates to standard networking and PC components. But when it comes to a phone, because you have so many different types, it's difficult to get a grasp on those. So what do? We need to develop this comprehensive scope in order to anticipate these threat vectors, try to figure out what the next attack is. Now, if we try to spend time on that as network administrators, we all find that it's very difficult in trying to accomplish that, especially since you're trying to fight the day-to-day rigors of your current environment as it is. So Juniper has gone out and done the work for you with Junos Pulse and being able to anticipate the threat vectors and trying to protect the mobile landscape by putting this product out there. We build security into the device, and we build the security into the infrastructure. These are multi-tiered approaches that are very sound and very solid. Is it going to protect you 100%? Absolutely not. However, it will help mitigate and will help monitor the ability and the enterprise in protecting and administering these mobile devices. Simplify administration and use. If it's hard to use, no one's going to use it. If it's hard to administer, the administrators will be frustrated. It's not going to get done. It's platform-based. It's cross-OS. So basically, it works over multiple operating systems. It works on multiple platforms. So it's very friendly, and that moves us to the ecosystem. Whether it be Android, Apple, WebRoot, whether it be a Microsoft-based device, it can be covered. So Juniper is already securing the back-end infrastructure on the provider side. Recently, they made an announcement that working with AT&T, they will be providing that service on the consumer level. However, how do we govern that on the private sector, on the enterprise level, on the business level? It is hard if your constituency doesn't go out and buy the properly sanctioned phone. How do you know you even have that phone on there? So with service providers, Juniper secures the majority of smartphone traffic in the U.S. already. And with the enterprise, it's the first to support smartphones with security and access control. With a mobile packet core covering 76% of all smartphones worldwide, and 24 of the Fortune 25 are using to enable their employees to protect their network. So what is missing from mobile security at this point? There's a lot of things missing from mobile security. Unfortunately, mobile security is one of these new things that hasn't been broached widely and deeply enough in order to get a grasp on it. Juniper, fortunately for us, has done so, and they are looking at multi-tiered, just the way you would look at a regular network. So basically, you're treating your cellular network as an extension of your corporate environment by applying antivirus, personal firewall, device monitoring and control, anti-spam, loss and theft protection. And we'll talk about all those in a brief minute. So for the enterprise, what are we looking at? So basically, we're looking at the ability to wipe data and access rights from lost and stolen devices remotely. How many of you have lost a phone at every one period of time? May not have had the sensitive data that you have now, but you may have lost it, and you lost your contacts, you lost your information. You feel kind of lost. You don't have that control anymore. You're not sure who's looking at what data, or even if the pictures that you had on your phone might be now they're lost. What do? You feel kind of vulnerable at that point. The ability to combine security and access in a single client. This is big because now you don't have to enable two processes on the phone, where already the phone is running intense processing in the background already to make sure you have your web, you have either a VoIP or a Skype application enabled, or if you're running some type of satellite-based communications on there. The ability to enforce policies across all devices attached to the network. This is another key component of Pulse, being able to go out and enforce your security policy, corporate environment policy, down to the phone. This is huge because it allows you to maintain regulation and compliancy issues, especially if there's access given to these phones, to the back-end infrastructure. And now you're reducing IT overhead by better managing complexity. How do you get a handle on all the phones that you have out there, and especially how do you get a handle of all the applications that are riding on these phones? If it is a corporate policy, if you have a corporate policy that forbids certain applications or certain types of information from leaking out of the phone, how do you manage that? This will help you manage that. As a service provider, whether you're an enterprise or an actual service provider, it helps you monetize innovative smartphone security services, such as being able to charge back to your constituents or to other business units, being able to maintain costs and keep those cost centers in line with the ability to monitor and be proactive as far as phone usage, phone theft, being able to monitor phone application adoption. Scale across all customers with a single solution. Again, you're looking at trying to be broad with everybody and trying to facilitate and service your constituency. Offer both managed and self-managed solutions. It's important for those power users to have some level and a semblance of control. If not, otherwise they will not adopt this type of service. Now, whether you have that ability or you don't, it's important to know that with Pulse, you have that level of control on both ends of the stick. That way, everybody can be happy. And then you can also tailor this. You can custom tailor it, whether you need the application or the wipe feature, or whether you need the application control or antivirus and monitoring, or phone location services. Those are things that you can custom tailor. Also, the way the phone interacts with the customer is important. How that application is launched. Is it launched immediately? Is it not launched immediately? These are things that can be tailored to the usage of the phone. And most importantly, for the consumers. Again, if it isn't easy for them to use, how are they going to use it, and are they going to continue to use it? Some of the aspects that they must maintain are protect the phone from viruses, malware, and spam. These are things that are not really always thought about when it comes to cell phones, but now, because they are on the infrastructure much more frequently and through much more quicker and faster pipes, this becomes an issue. Defend kids from cyberbullying and online predators. If this is a concern, and if there are tablets that are issued or provided to a student at a student level, this is one way to help prevent those issues from arising. Backup and restore. Now this is key because, again, we were talking about losing that phone or having it stolen and having very important data there. If you have pictures, if you have documents that are very important, what do you do? How do you recover that? The backup and restore allows you to grab that information, store it centrally, and if in the event of a stolen or damaged phone, you're able to go back and restore that content and that information. And then we have find and wipe. Simply put, you lose the phone. You need to get that information off of there. You can either find the phone remotely when it comes online and wipe it remotely, or if the SIM card is removed, it detects and it gives it a certain amount of time before the SIM card needs to be replaced. If it's not replaced in time, the next time the phone is activated, it will wipe all the information on that phone automatically. It doesn't send a signal. It's just embedded. It's an embedded signal. It's an embedded code on the phone that's pushed down from the console. So across the board, comprehensive mobile platform support for both Android, BlackBerry, Symbian OS, and Windows Mobile. Apple iOS, they are continuing to work for some of the features. Obviously, Apple doesn't allow everybody to write to the Apple API. They would, of course, like you to believe that no viruses will ever attack or malware will ever attack the Apple operating system. However, being as proactive that Juniper is, they are working together with Apple to develop a software package that will do that. Currently, today, the only thing available on the Apple is Layer 3 VPN, but soon, at the end of this year, the API for that will be written to allow the greater breadth of the security suite rather, to be installed on the Apple iPhone and the Apple iPad. But other than that, the remainder is available for the Android, the BlackBerry, the Symbian OS, and the Windows Mobile. So what are the components required in order to obtain this service? Now, simply put, you really only need to have a secure SSL VPN or a IC series or UAC if you'd like, and also now you can have the Mac, which is the Junos Pulse Gateway, that provides you the ability to have the console and the gateway all in one box. The client itself is free if you have SSL VPN or UAC licenses that you can that you already have. If you have the box already, your total user license count is what you're enabled to have for your constituency to download. So you can either go to the Apple Store or to the Android Marketplace and already just pull down the software for free. It just won't be serviceable or won't be activated unless you have a valid license and have it terminated somewhere else. So the Junos Pulse Mobile Security Suite protects corporate data with centralized control, addresses the consumerization of IT challenges, and saves costs by supporting existing smartphones. The comprehensive smartphone device management security solution provides antivirus, firewall, anti-spam, loss and theft protection, device monitoring, and control. It's sold with the SA series SSL VPN or as a standalone. It requires Junos Pulse Mobile Gateway and secure hosted deployment. Some of the features for Pulse: real-time protection, automatically updated OTA, scans files received over the network connections, does SMS, MMS, email, direct download, Bluetooth, infrared, and the list goes on. On-demand scans of all internal memory cards, or full device alerts upon detection, full logging of scans and deletions. So this is important. So you're able to pull a log from the device to get an update as to what application was downloaded, what pictures it has, what text it might have, if that is the corporate policy. It's not saying that you are Big Brother, but it has that capability to become Big Brother in case you need to. Obviously, it's not always a requirement to have all of those features turned on. Now, one of the lovely aspects of this is that you can actually turn on all of the components within the console, and if the phone doesn't support it, it's just simply going to ignore the command. It is not going to freeze the phone. It is not going to deter the phone from being used at all, and it's not going to stop the phone from functioning. So supported on Microsoft Windows Mobile 6.0 and greater, Nokia Symbian S6 3rd and 5th editions, Google Android version 2.0 and greater, and BlackBerry 4.2. iPhone, as we said, that's being built right now. Inbound, outbound port filtering and IP filtering. So if you have the capability, or if you have an SRX, if you have a NetScreen firewall, if you have some type of security policy in the background, you can actually port those over to the service, and it will actually grab those attributes and use those on your phone. Full control of alerts, logging, default high and low filtering options, and it is customizable. So if you have a customizable set of applications, rule sets, or ports that you can define them on the SRX, and it'll integrate into the Pulse. All of that, again, is supported on Microsoft Windows 6, Nokia Symbian, iPhone, BlackBerry, Android APIs are being worked on as yet. So for anti-spam here, it blocks voice and SMS spam. So in the event that you have some individuals that you don't want to have contact to, or if you have policy that you cannot talk to certain organizations, or you're not allowed to have them contact you, they can be blocked at the phone level. It can also block calls, messages, or just both. It's automatic, and it adds the list of contacts to your blacklist if you need it to be. Message settings are saved to the inbox, saved to the spam folder, or delete. Option to disable alerts for incoming messages, automatic denial for unknown and or wanted calls, full logging of blocked calls. Now this is important too. Now let's take a look at what happens. Let's take a look at what happens when you have a iPhone or a Android tablet, and those are issued to students, and you don't want students to be receiving phone calls, or they're getting bullied, or there's an issue that that is happening at the school or even at the corporate level. This allows you to protect your user base from unwanted material and or contact. This is currently supported on the Microsoft Windows Mobile 6 and Symbian S60 3rd and 5th editions. iPhone APIs are not allowed as yet. Okay. So now the big one is the remote loss theft protection, remote lock and wipe, GPS locate and track. So if you're interested in getting your phone back and the phone is still active, you're able to track that phone wherever it may be. Device backup and restore, remote alarm and notification. It alerts to when the phone has been removed or taken, and SIM change notification. So if that SIM card has been removed and popped out, it will certainly notify the back end that has occurred. This is available on all platforms at this point, except for the for Apple as of yet. So device monitoring and control. So this is where you would set your application and inventory removal, monitor all SMS and MMS mails and emails, message content, view phone calls, login address, and books and contacts. So basically, this is the Big Brother component in which you can see all of the additions made to the phone that are made. The phone calls back and says, hey, I basically did this, or you can actually send out a report command from the console to pull that information from the phone. This is right now supported on Microsoft Windows, Nokia, Google, and BlackBerry, and I continue to mention that it will be supported on the Apple at one point. So real quickly, I just wanted to show you what the device management console might look like, so that you can get a feel and flavor for. Well, I apologize for that. My password is having an issue here. So many passwords, so little time. So basically, this is the console that you would see if you had the Junos Pulse. It has the ability to create users for your user base, and it has the ability to create multiple enterprises, if you will. So I have a demo of hospital here, and here our demo group. So it allows you to click on that, and then you're able to see policies if you have them enabled. At this point, we did not enable any policies. But one thing I do want to show you are the devices. So I currently have an Android phone that is enabled on this system, and it's this guy right here. And you can see he's online. He's green, so he's available. So basically, this is my demo phone that I have. This is a live phone number. Feel free to call if you'd like, or send me a text. Basically, this would be where you actually enter the information. When the phone gets registered, it will automatically populate it with this information right here. The only thing you need to do is, when setting up a new phone, is actually send a request to the system to add a new phone. So you add a user account. give you all the information to create the user. That's where you would do it. And then on the devices, you would add a device. You add the phone number in this field, and it would automatically send a text message to the phone, telling the phone that it has a request to join the console if it has a Pulse or a Pulse client enabled on it. Once that is done, it is automatically entered into the collective of the Junos Pulse system, and it starts gathering information. So let's take a look at what we have here. We'll take a look at the logs. Actually, in the reporting, I apologize. In the reporting, and then we can go ahead and look at the So, monitor control devices of J Solutions. Demo. So this is my phone. Here we can get a list of the applications that are currently on the phone, and it'll give you information based on what's currently available. You can also look at contacts, pictures, and messages. Well, currently I don't have any of that information on there. So, as you can see, on my one phone I have Angry Birds, I have eBay, Junos Pulse, and the Marketplace for Android on that phone. It is here that you would actually use to revoke the application if there is an application that doesn't meet your requirements. It is also here that you would see the general alerts, the virus discovery alerts, profile updates and reports, registration report. This will tell you actually who's registered on the phone and what and when.
It's really good. I need to.
Now, if you had policies that were governed by the firewall, this is where the firewall rules would tie in. You would just simply add a rule here, name it, give it a description, enable it, either allow or block. If there's a specific IP address that you need to have enabled, this is where you would do it in the ports, in the MAX ports, whether it's in both directions or in and out. Also create your firewall profiles in the same location. You would name it, give it a description. If you have rules that get populated from the SRX or from your NetScreen, they would be here. You have anti-spam rules. This is where...
Yeah, until I hit like Ohio Street Beach, I figured either south or north. North. Oh, Ohio Street Beach is south. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, no, I went south. I went all the way up to the clinic place. Because I figured even, because you would have been...
I apologize.
Always on the top.
So you define your spam rules here. You enter the phone number, description of the individual or the service that you want denied. You activate it, and you block the type, whether it's an SMS, phone, or both. And again, you create your anti-spam profiles here as well. Now, this is a limited demonstration in that all the features are not active on this demo. But if you would like to see more, I'd be more than happy to walk you through the process and even show you live and in person with your phones, or even set up some demo accounts. I can set up to a maximum user account of 10 phones, whether it be iPhone or Android-based phones, and we can test layer 3 VPN connectivity and or the services from the console, be it the firewall rules, anti-spam, and wipe features if you so inclined.
I always had this empty stomach feeling until even after I eat it.
So basically, again, here in your settings, you can see a quick hit on the information that's provided to you, J Solutions demo here, and enterprise code and license type and the license count that I've assigned to my user base. Expiration date of when this thing will expire. It looks like I set it to last month. A required customer account, allow insecure clients, and you can define all of those within the setup. Anti-spam, antivirus control, and then your unique user ID. This is important when creating, especially if you're doing some type of compliance, and you need to generate a key. It generates this key in order to share it with the phone, and it automatically, that's how it establishes the connection between the two. That's how you know that they're both, that the phone that's on the system is legit.
But I couldn't stop the message, right? I stopped once and just like, I could feel it. Yeah, I couldn't stop the letter at the end because then like it would like cramp up.
For all of this and more information, if you'd like, please visit us at www.j-solve.com or visit us on Twitter or YouTube, where we have videos and informational tech snippets that provide you information on various different technologies and solutions. We're also available at structure-tech.com, and the same thing with Twitter. My name is David Antilles. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you coming out to watch the video. If you have any questions, again, please come and visit us on jsolve.com or hit us up on Twitter. We'll be more than happy to answer any and all your questions. Junos Pulse, again, it is a mobile suite made for mobile devices. It is made to solve some of the more difficult issues surrounding mobility and mobility adoption, such as malware, antivirus, and data retention and data protection. So please visit us again, and I thank you again. Have a great day.